A hunter hurls himself at a monster twice his size, sword and shield up, screaming. Then the blood answers back, and he ends it with a move he calls Blood Demon Art. Officially, this same guy is dead last in the ranking. An F-rank meat shield sent to soak hits so the real hunters don't. Most fights end with him face down in the dirt, because the power was never his. It belongs to the thing coiled in his blood, a past life monster called the Blood Demon, whispering at him to use it and kill. Every time he reaches for it, the monster edges closer to taking over. The only thing between it and a city of people is one bottom-ranked loser refusing to become it. Rewind though, none of that is where it starts. It opens with monsters tearing into the city and a young San finding his mother among the dead. Orphaned, he scrapes by in a filthy bathroom, studies through freezing nights, and watches his own body fail him at every exam. Then he finds the one door still open. Awakened hunters can crack the ground barehanded, and anyone can try out at 20. So he grinds himself raw, passes the awakening test, and the system stamps him with its lowest rank. So the staff confirms Kang's rank, and even the experienced employees are surprised. They've watched countless low-ranked hunters quit, yet his result is unusually poor. Of course it is. Nobody expects much from him. Kang enters the field at the bottom and immediately faces a deadly test. A white wolf beast attacks, and he catches its claws with both hands. He uses all his strength just to hold it back. Kang's low rank makes him the meat shield, while the fire mage prepares an attack. The mage demands more time, but the beast breaks Kang's arm under the pressure. The spell still fails, but the fire mage finally completes the spell and engulfs the enemy in flames. Kang's sacrifice creates the opening, so the mage takes control of the battle. He promises to finish every remaining monster. The fire attack tears across the battlefield, but the fight continues. A horned fighter strikes back with a heavy weapon. His opponent meets him at close range among the flames. Their blades collide, and one fighter falls wounded to the ground. A monster moves in to kill him. With no other defense, he desperately reaches toward its claws, and the wounded fighter cries for help as the monster prepares to kill him. Kang answers and charges in with a knife. He chooses to protect the man despite the danger. Kang spins as the hooded stranger opens a portal without warning, demanding an explanation. Still sweating, our boy apologizes for forcing the escape. You don't want those dogs killing you either. The stranger steps through toward the waiting stairs. Kang arrives in an unfamiliar arena and prepares to fight. A white-haired beast attacks from behind before he can react. It bites him and hurls him through the air. Then the guy crashes to the ground and can't move. A violent surge follows, and another portal opens onto a stairwell. Whoever controls this place still isn't finished with him. Kang escapes the immediate ambush and dodges the blades chasing him. No exit appears. Above him, Luca Bellino watches with complete control of the encounter. She already knows why he's here. A presence closes in, so Kang bolts across the stones, demanding to know what happened to the portal. Luca Bellino reaches for him and explains the price. This nightmare will erase his karma. Damn, divine customer service comes with mandatory suffering. So Bro recoils as Luca Bellino finishes her answer. This ordeal will erase the karma from his past life. He doesn't accept it and demands a real explanation. Luca Bellino raises her bleeding hands and fires an energy blast at Kang, ripping up the ground. Our boy shields himself from the debris, but another strike pierces him, and now he's gritting his teeth, furious. A clawed beast jumps Kang from behind, but the attack ends with a bloody blade hanging over the fallen body. The onlooker freezes, while Luca Bellino turns away and warns, "So, make a wise choice." Damn, subtlety died first. And that warning comes with scenes of human suffering. One victim is pinned down, while a terrified woman flees her home. A drunken man remains unconscious inside as Kang faces the damage tied to his karma. Kim Chun-shik's mother abandons him when he's still young. His grandmother raises him through poverty and comforts him whenever he struggles. As Kim Chun-shik grows older, he becomes determined to support her. Years later, Kim Chun-shik carries his grandmother toward a clinic. He takes exhausting construction jobs because they need money. A doctor gives him troubling news about her health, making treatment urgent. And meanwhile, Kim Chun-shik stays beside his frail grandmother in the hospital. He holds her hand and thinks about paying for her treatment. To earn enough money, he'll have to risk his life. So a report says 3 of 7 elite hunters earn 2 billion won annually. Kim Chun-shik is nowhere near that level. After only 6 months, he cries beside his grandmother because her survival depends on his dangerous work. Kang realizes too late that the dangerous job is a trap, that the promised double payment means nothing when a huge beast grabs him. It injures Bro and leaves him unable to escape. Then now, another beast restrains Kang while the storm rages around them. The trial keeps throwing attacks at him, and he still can't break free. The beast keeps attacking with Kang's blade lodged in its head. Our hero can't believe it, and normal attacks aren't ending this fight. But Luca Bellino finally explains why Kang suffers so much. She says, "You were a blood demon in your past life. His hardships punish that karma, so Kang Kang draws on his awakened power and attacks again. So Kang asks Luca to repeat that past life nonsense. The answer comes with a memory of him charging attackers, and Luca calmly confirms he once lived as the blood demon. Damn, this karma bill has receipts. Luca Bellino throws her arms wide, grinning like Kang's misery is premium entertainment. As Kang heads down the corridor, she explains trials erase evil karma, and harder ones pay better. Our boy accepts the hardship needed to erase his past life karma, no delay. A huge beast immediately confronts him and attacks. Then the beast knocks Kang down, but he pulls his awakened power together. He recovers his sword and braces for another charge instead of surrendering. So Kang meets the charging beast head-on and brings down his sword. His awakened power breaks through the assault and the strike lands cleanly. The clash leaves Bro struggling, but he won't stay down in the rain. He pushes forward and brings his sword down on the beast again. And Kang keeps attacking, but the larger beast counters and sends him flying. He answers with a powerful strike that hurls it away, leaving it badly injured. Now the guy rushes after the beast before it can recover. He strikes its face while passing, and it roars before slamming into the ground, still not finished. Kang doesn't give the wounded beast any time to recover. He follows his last strike with another focused sword attack, making it roar in pain. Then now, Kang drives his blade into the beast with enough force to finish it. The creature reels from the wound and dies. Bro stands beside its body, exhausted but victorious. Kang stays on his feet and calls, "One down," but another beast lunges. He curses the ambush, then chops straight down at it. And this guy catches the beast's claws with his blade, but it keeps charging. He braces with his knife, holds firm, and lands a clean strike while airborne. So Kang overpowers the beast up close and drags his blade through it. He drives his knife into its back, finally ending the attack despite his exhaustion. With the beast dead, Kang struggles to catch his breath. Honestly, the man treats breathing like an optional side quest. Still, he forces himself forward and retrieves his dropped knife so he can keep fighting. Dude stamps the knife deeper into the fallen beast, lodging it in the creature's head. He moves on, but his heavy breathing shows how badly the fighting drains him. So Kang attacks again, bringing his sword down and slashing the next beast's face. The wounded creature still blocks his path, which means the trial isn't finished. Our hero confirms the wounded beast is dead, but he has nothing left. He collapses. But the system announces he passed the first hardship and trial, so his promised reward will be granted. While Kang lies unconscious after clearing the trial, Luca Bellino slaps his cheek to wake him. He only starts stirring, so she raises her fist to strike again. And Luca Bellino's punch wakes Kang fully, and he recoils from the pain. He complains that she printed his trial results on paper. She calls him a scoundrel for criticizing her copy. His surprise grows once he reads the reward information. But Luca Bellino explains that he hasn't passed every trial yet. Destroying all the trial tools still earns him a partial clear reward. She warns him not to pass out again, says bye, and leaves. Bro examines the newly unlocked information. Kang checks the reward, and Asmin finally came through. Every nearby enemy boosts his defense and recovery, and running empty forces an instant refill that doubles his toughness. So Kang charges the monster pack, because this buff turns getting surrounded into a bulk discount. Then that upgrade still has a divine power lock, and Luca Bellino immediately tells Kang he hasn't cleared every trial. Kang asks if she's serious, then raises his fist over the opponent he just folded. Apparently doubt comes with combat homework. As Kang helps the fallen man, an unexplained power surges through his body. The effect brings intense pain, but he endures it. Once the pain fades, his resolve returns. Then an official enters a guarded room, where masked officials surround our boy. Their confrontation turns tense as they prepare to question him. Kang stays calm. So Moon Sung-min protests, but a masked official states exactly what he did. During an F-rank raid, Moon abandoned his comrades and deliberately left them to die. The officials restrain him before he can resist. The masked official presents Kang's recording of the beast attack. It proves Moon Sung-min fled immediately, instead of helping the raid team. The evidence can put Moon on trial, ending his attempt to avoid responsibility. So Moon Sung-min collapses after realizing Kang recorded everything. He can't explain away his betrayal anymore. The masked official confirms the footage is enough for a trial. He also credits Bro for preserving evidence during the desperate raid. Now the masked official reviews Kang's combat ability and questions his F-rank tanker job. He urges Kang to enlist instead. The military can provide specialized weapons and a better life. The guy calmly turns down the recruitment offer and relaxes. He intends to keep following his own path. Elsewhere, a passerby curses at a hooded man, and the encounter turns violent. A nearby woman recoils as a bruised man screams in agony, and Kang later wakes inside a hospital after the battle. His injuries make him wonder how he survived. And the answer starts with the fight. Kang kills the monstrous wolf, but the effort leaves him barely conscious. Kang snaps alert because his rescuer had a reason. Now our boy's doing the math. Why the hell save him? Then nearby, an injured patient insists he's fine. An elderly man protests that half his face is ruined. A frightened boy clings to a scarred, hooded adult. The hospital also fills with reunions. A boy's guardian promises they'll live with his grandmother for years. The stunned boy finally accepts her tearful embrace. So another injured survivor embraces a loved one before thanking his benefactor. Kang kneels beside him and admits he hesitated. He says no great cause drove his choice. so the survivor keeps staring, which makes this guy uncomfortable. Kang asks him to stop and admits he couldn't choose differently. As Kang leaves, the survivor promises to repay him. Kang rubs his head and forces out, "It's fine," but the system immediately assigns his second trial. Our boy reads the hardship, freezes, and raises a hand like customer service owes answers. The trial says Kim Chun-shik's grandmother needs surgery they cannot afford. Kang accepts, scores a stat boost and new skill, then smirks like he found the money glitch. A falling man reaches out, but Kang locks in. But the choice costs Kang exactly 168 million won and wipes out his entire fortune. He mourns the money, but he won't abandon the family. Doing that would betray why he endures Asmund's trials. Luca Bellino welcomes Kang like it's orientation, while the woman in glasses warns that the Apostle Path has no refunds and slides over a contract. Kang sees the terms and protests. "This is too much. Damn, even divinity has paperwork." Kang confirms that the listed rewards are everything he'll receive. He also worries about failing. F-rank meat shields can't access the market, while stronger hunters earn enormous wealth. Our boy decides to fight for every opportunity he can reach. And another beast falls, and Kang checks the payment record beside a document listing repeated failures. His F-rank status won't stop him. He promises Asmund, "I'll certainly get that reward." Then Kang joins the other applicants for an assessment. The instructor explains that each person controls a designated character inside a private virtual reality training room. Applicant number 38 is called. Dude steps forward to begin. Kang steps into the simulation, and the system gives him one job: survive 5 minutes against 4 beasts while keeping his allies alive. He takes the sword and shield without blinking. Of course, the F-rank gets raid boss customer service. Then 3 of the 4 beasts confront the guy and attack immediately. The assessment is underway. The evaluators watch his performance while one discusses the hardship of raising something. That comment stops before the evaluator finishes. Kang decides to test his new reward during the assessment. He holds his ground while 2 beasts advance. One lunges, but Kang catches its attack with his shield. He prepares to counter. Now bro trades several blows with the beast until an opening appears. He counters hard and sends it flying backward. The strike gives him the advantage, but the remaining beasts keep the mission active. So Kang follows his counter with another sword strike and leaves the beast bloodied on the ground. The evaluators reconsider the F-rank applicant, saying his skill may deserve greater consideration. Kang gets mobbed while a cloaked observer watches from safety, because apparently helping costs extra. 3 combat constructs square up against the largest beast, giving our boy his opening, so he vaults onto the bastard and drives his sword down before it can react. After Kang brings down the largest beast, his 3 allies attack another from behind. He faces a huge white beast, but a wolf-like creature closes in. Its fangs and claws are ready, and the wolf-like beast tears through a hooded fighter's guard and draws blood. The wounded fighter counters immediately, and the brutal clash alarms the other applicants. They realize this evaluation can seriously wound them. Kang catches the beast's strike on his shield, but the claw still sends him skidding. The plan is collapsing, and our boy takes one look at the blood. "Perfect, this suits me." Now several beasts surround Kang, and he questions risking his life for scraps of beast hide. He still refuses to retreat. Our hero blocks their assault and launches his counterattack, and Kang's refusal to stop fighting shocks the onlookers, though he doesn't understand their reaction. Once the encounter ends, he leaves through the facility gate. So a group travels through the city while an unseen evaluator reviews a written document. The evaluator tears it apart and calls it pathetic. Pathetic. Whoever submitted it hasn't earned approval. Earlier, a shadow monster seizes Kim Young-min while his teammate desperately calls for him. Now the applicants must form 2 groups with complete strangers. Their evaluation starts as soon as the teams are chosen. Then the applicants study everyone around them, because one bad choice could decide the test before combat. Near the evaluation area's entrance, one aggressive applicant confronts another. Kang stays wary while the applicants size each other up. A large applicant confidently steps forward and starts gathering his own team. Nobody rushes to draft the human shield, but the large applicant says his group already has a strong tank. Another member suggests sharing specialties and setting a proper formation. A sudden rumble cuts them off and puts everyone on alert. So with no way to predict everything, the applicants commit to a coordinated plan. The ranged fighters take position behind the front line. He charges the pale armored creature and keeps its attention on him. Kang catches the blade on his shield and digs in as the recoil tries to fold him. Furious, the monster winds up again, so our boy triggers Iron Body and braces. The fighter hardens up and punches through, so the swordswoman orders an attack. Grabbed midair, the blonde young man slams his blade into the brawler's face and smirks as that bastard drops. And Kang catches the Knuckle Heap's club on his sword, gets shoved back, then plants his feet and trades 3 exchanges until the monster folds. Our boy turned a strength test into unpaid demolition. He forces the monster's weapon back and turns the long clash into a counterattack. His next strike hits the creature directly. Nearby, the blade grunt and an archer bring down another beast. Before anyone can recover, an orc horde charges in with weapons raised. The exhausted applicants turn and face the new attackers without getting any rest. Then the orcs overwhelm the applicants, so the commander orders everyone behind the tanker. As the group retreats, a fighter intercepts the pursuing orcs. He counters an armored opponent and drives it backward. Now dude braces against another heavy attack and keeps the formation intact. Another tanker starts collapsing while an ally urges him to hold on. An archer spots the evaluation drone as the orcs continue attacking. Meanwhile, the evaluation drone keeps tracking Kang's team while the tanker holds firm. The observers explain that applicants often misunderstand how the rankings work. Every team member must reach the required level for them to pass. So one weak applicant can make the entire team fail. That risk hits fast as an exhausted blade grunt struggles through the scattered debris. He can barely keep fighting. Meanwhile, another team stays in formation behind its leading tanker. The ranged hunters support from behind, but the monsters keep advancing. Their blade grunt and archer have to keep fighting without a break. And Kang finishes his fight injured, gasping as he tries to stay upright. Elsewhere, a bloodied man crouches inside a dark corridor. Two soldiers approach carefully because he may still be dangerous. And more applicants go down during the evaluation. One gets thrown hard and can't move, so two medics rush toward him. Another fighter is held at sword point. Nearby, a blade grunt's hands won't stop trembling. So another hunter controls his surging power and pushes through the marsh. The remaining hunters cross the barren testing ground with the same thought. I have to do more. Now our boy scans the wrecked testing ground while everyone tries to recover. They don't get the chance. A large monster approaches and an archer notices it first. He warns something is approaching and the group prepares to fight. So two monsters clash beside the hunters and a blade grunt cuts one down. The danger isn't over. Kang raises his bow as a much larger creature charges toward the group. The exhausted applicants brace for another fight. Kang warns another hunter to stay back, but the hunter moves forward anyway. A goblin-like creature lunges and brings its blade down. Bro dodges the strike, prepares his counter, and keeps its attention on himself. Meanwhile, the other hunters form a defensive line with swords, shields, and a bow. Another monster reaches them at close range. It aims an arrow at the frontline hunter before anyone can respond. Then the goblin archer fires at Kang, but he knocks the arrow aside. With 12 enemies nearby, his defense and health regeneration increase by 12%. Getting surrounded pays. That gives him enough endurance to counterattack. But the guy charges the goblin group with his shield and sword. He breaks their formation and finishes another enemy with a clean strike. The watching hunters finally admit he's skilled and valuable on the front line. The facehider dives in, chaining lightning and ice through one savage slash. The meat shield jumps to meet him, but the enemy count penalty nerfs his staying power, and both soldiers scramble as the blade barely misses. So the masked enemy slams into the frontline hunter's guard. Another hunter barely blocks the next blow. An orc charges with its weapon raised, forcing everyone into another clash. The clash launches a fighter across the field, and his companion freezes. There's a blood orc here. Yeah, this zone's difficulty setting is lying. Then the hunters realize a blood orc can't belong in an E-rank zone. They abandon the fight and order everyone to retreat before it kills them. And the blood orc chases the retreating hunters and prepares another attack. Luca Bellino lounges calmly atop another orc. A nearby observer sees her and asks, why is Luca Bellino here? Testing staff discover a blood orc habitat inside the evaluation area. They call the discovery ridiculous and demand an explanation. The scene returns to two applicants preparing for the practical test. Meanwhile, the staff challenge a hunter's report about the blood orcs. He insists he understands the accusation and hasn't misjudged the danger. Another staff member dismisses him because similar behavior previously removed him from fieldwork. Now the attack lands and knocks the applicants out of position. Kang takes command and says, I'll block it, so prepare to attack. His defense must create their only opening for a counterattack. So Kang commits to the opening he promised and charges the ogre himself. The knuckle heap braces head on while the other applicants prepare their counterattack. The ogre sweeps through Kang's guard and knocks him down before he can hold the line. Bro is defenseless. The monster raises another blow to finish him. Then before it can strike, the wider battle forces every hunter to move. One hunter confirms Kang will hold back the blood orc, while another calls the plan reckless. This guy catches the monster's punch anyway, and gives everyone else their opening. And goblins rush the scattered hunters while Kang holds the blood orc back. An archer fires at close range, draws a knife, and joins the melee. The hunters push through, but Kang's team must fight on several fronts. The fighting knocks down a tree beside one hunter. Another fighter keeps the wounded creature occupied and strikes its shoulder while shouting, eat this. So Kang takes the opening and fires an arrow into the ogre. He drives his sword through it, then slashes the monster again. It bleeds heavily and starts trembling, but it's still alive and dangerous. The wounded knuckle heap swings back with a berserker skill no D rank should have. Kang catches the blade on his shield, groans, and stays standing. So the monster keeps attacking, but Kang absorbs blow after blow behind his shield. The strain keeps building, yet he refuses to leave the defensive line. And the monster pins Kang down, but our boy forces it back and catches the axe on his shield before slashing free. Nearby, the bespectacled man points in full panic, while the suited man freezes. Kang drops to one knee and heals himself. Damn, overtime approved. Kang's comrades urge him to retreat as he bleeds and doubts he can continue, but leaving this position would let the blood orcs break through. He holds on until the assault ends. Every blood orc is dead, though Kang pays heavily for stopping them. The fighters earn that victory together. An archer drops a charging orc while Kang confronts a cloaked attacker in the foliage. Nearby, an ogre swings at the meat shield, who catches the heavy strike on his shield. But the wounded ogre fights back with arrows still buried in its body. The soldiers refuse to yield and keep attacking. After the clash, the meat shield steps forward and cuts upward across the ogre. It staggers away screaming. Now, the wounded stone ogre turns toward Bro. He stands firm with his sword and shield because the defensive line still depends on him. The stone ogre brings its axe down toward Kang. Before it can overwhelm him, the archer supports the blade grunt's counterattack. His upward slash tears into the arrow-riddled monster. Then the meat shield realizes the hooded attack isn't aimed at him. Instead, the attacker strikes the fallen soldier. A nearby witness spots the hooded attacker and freezes in shock. A giant claw drops on Kang, but our boy braces and stares the creature down like fear missed its appointment. A huge armored figure looms over him as Kang holds firm, while a bespectacled man folds into a bow, desperately apologizing for the disaster. The test officials keep apologizing to the hooded authority. They admit they missed the blood orcs while exploring the test area. Their explanation changes nothing. The hooded authority responds, and the soldiers react sharply. So over tea, an interviewer turns his attention to Kang's background. He asks whether Kang really spent 6 years living in a monastery. The question begins a formal examination of his unusual past. The interviewer confirms Kang works as a ranger. He focuses on Kang's actions during the blood orcs' final assault. Bro charges into their attack without hesitation because his comrades need protection. The stalker knows there's a plan, but even he's worried as he and the onlooker pass the fallen brute. Then Kang reaches up, fully healed, with his defense doubled. Our boy just activated the fantasy version of paid sick leave. And with his stamina restored and defense doubled, the guy immediately charges back into the enemy. His actions show the interviewer why this inquiry matters. Back in the office, the scarred interviewer orders Kang treated before they continue. Kang spots a strange document on the desk and urgently tries to stop the process. He still touches it, and the document's hidden effect activates immediately. The office goes quiet. Dude pushes through the document's effect and manages to read some of it. He realizes Asmon arranged this, so he angrily curses the god. The hidden information keeps entering his mind, and the document forces Kang to witness the blood demon's horrifying violence. Those memories flood his mind and leave him in unbearable pain. He finally collapses because he can't stop Asmon's vision. A coworker asks whether this guy is alright, and he tries to steady himself. He still can't breathe properly. Even so, Kang realizes this vision may be the promised special information. Turns out the special information concerns Kang's past life. The memories leave him nauseated throughout the trip, and he can barely endure them. Before long, he vomits. Then the system sends Kang into Gangwon province, and he's sweating because Asmon is force-feeding him the blood demon's memories. 10 years earlier, a hooded figure trudges through the snow toward a dungeon disaster brewing overhead. Lovely assignment. So Kang seals the dungeon entrance before going inside. Otherwise, monsters could escape and reach the surface. Once the entrance is secure, he steps inside and finds complete darkness. Our hero lights the dungeon and sees several skeletal monsters closing in. He nearly dies against one skeleton before. Facing 3 of them at once makes this fight far more dangerous. So the largest skeletal monster attacks first, but Kang blocks its strike. He counters with divinity-infused power because the dark-type creature is weak against it. Kang's divinity burns the skeletal monster and drives it backward. Dark-type monsters can't withstand divinity, which gives him a clear advantage. If every enemy here is dark-type, he can clear the dungeon alone. But once the nearby skeletons are gone, Kang searches for his reward. He finds a treasure chest and thanks Asmon for providing it. Before he can claim it, a shadowy horse-like presence appears nearby. He can't tell what it wants yet, and the shadowy presence attacks before Bro can reach the treasure chest. He survives the blast, but it still injures him. Kang realizes the horse carries a headless knight. This enemy can threaten him, despite his advantage against dark-type monsters. The headless knight follows with one sword strike after another. Our boy can't find any room to counter. He desperately blocks the next mounted attack, and the close fight begins. Now the knight sends a sword shockwave straight toward Kang's face. He barely avoids it as the attack shatters part of the structure. The mounted enemy follows immediately, swinging a spiked ball down from above. Then Kang narrowly avoids the spiked ball and lands a heavy counter. Just like that, the mounted terror is the one on the back foot. The rider reels from the impact. Kang lands beside the broken treasure chest and watches for another attack. Dude deflects the headless knight's next strike, but its force alarms him. His counter throws the mounted enemy off balance. The knight falls from its horse and crashes toward the ground. The horse panics and throws the headless knight, but the fall doesn't stop it. A weapon suddenly comes at Kang. Moments later, the knight charges him from horseback again. Then the guy braces himself for the renewed charge. However, the knight's chain weapon breaks through his defense. The impact drives him straight into the dungeon entrance's magic fence. Now the magic fence keeps monsters from reaching the surface. However, it repels humans too. Its violent discharge throws Kang outside, sending him crashing crashing across the snow. Kang downs the flask to recover from that fence-induced flight, and Asmin rewards the suffering with a trial shield. Apparently getting launched through snow counts as premium customer service. But his recovery drags Bro into memories from his life as the Blood Demon. He sees blood-covered victims, a murdered family, and a child crying beside the bodies. The massacre threatens the nation, and Kang finally understands the full weight of his karma. Past life Kang demands a reason, but nobody answers. His hand shakes as rage drains his breath, while the wounded blade grunt still grips his sword. Damn man refuses checkout, and the surviving fighters can barely endure the bloodshed around them. Even the facehider recoils as the battle continues. Everyone left behind by the Blood Demon is grieving or terrified. So still shaken, this guy remembers standing at his brother's funeral. His relatives condemn him for staying away while his brother was alive, yet they admit they weren't any closer and lived as strangers themselves. Soon after, Kang rides with other passengers when something suddenly strikes their vehicle. The vehicle breaks apart, and Kang falls with the wreckage. Another catastrophe adds to the guilt already consuming him. Rescuers pull Bro from the wreckage while the other victims lie injured. He believes his curse caused the crash. In his mind, everyone near him keeps getting dragged into disaster. So the news connects this latest destruction to the wider monster attacks. While Kang recovers, a recruiter offers him a place at a management company. Elsewhere, the onlooker congratulates an acquaintance on a recent promotion. The destruction is already creating new opportunities. Later, our hero meets the recently promoted acquaintance, but the conversation changes when he hears Celestial. He questions the name sharply. Afterward, he considers why the management company matters to him. That suspicion pulls Kang into another memory from his school days. He and another student lose control of an electric scooter. Of course, even a rental scooter has it out for him. They crash onto the street, leaving both boys injured. And after the crash, a passerby helps both students while their classmates mock their repeated falls. Kang checks his arm and says he's fine. When the other boy blames him for every crash, a violent impulse takes over. The boy hits the ground and screams, "Why'd you attack me?" Kang waits at the red light like his kill switch never flipped. Rattled, the boy apologizes and Kang tells him they're good. His friend drags him off while the officer herds scooter traffic along. Kang watches with a knowing smirk. But when the recruiter offers to plan his growth, our boy stays silent. Suspiciously generous, huh? But the offer brings back Kang's deeper fear. A demonic presence questions whether he can safely keep moving forward. Later, Kang sits with a drink and comments on his test results, despite that doubt. Kang's violent memories return as he sees a blood-soaked survivor among corpses and rubble. The vision hits hard. Bro clutches his head and gasps, prompting his worried companion to check on him. A phone alert says a disaster team is heading to Gangnam for monster subjugation. The nobody raises a hand, but Kang says it is too soon, then awkwardly thanks him anyway. The nobody barely gets out a confused "huh?" before a red slash attacks overhead. Then the onlooker and facehider watch as a trident-wielding monster crashes through the room and pins the nobody under the wreckage. Then a thrown blade makes it stagger. Excellent workplace safety. Now, the wounded monster keeps the civilian trapped as everyone inside panics. Another civilian begs the guy for help. He abandons the farewell and steps in. A red-haired attacker watches the lizard monster terrorize the civilians. The creature grabs an older civilian by the head and nobody can help. Nearby, the attacker prepares to act. Now the red-haired attacker finishes the assault, leaving two victims dead beside an abandoned sword. This isn't one loose monster. The bloodshed confirms that Kang is facing an organized, lethal attack. Kang dives through the shattered window, sending the nobody crashing onto the rooftop. The bastard goes stiff while the glasses-wearing husband restrains another attacker and screams for his wife. Yeah, this rescue just got personal. More enemies are coming, so Bro tells the civilians, hurry up before more of them come in. He immediately moves to intercept them and keep the escape route open. So meanwhile, a guard blocks the hall while a recruiter reports by phone that Kang won't join. The caller insults him for failing the simple assignment, leaving the recruiter frustrated by Kang's refusal. And this guy blocks a lizard monster's claw before it reaches the fleeing civilians. One civilian says he doesn't know what's happening. Another armed lizard monster roars and charges, forcing Kang to keep defending the group. Meanwhile, lizard monsters enter the street and attack civilians. One man runs while another warns everyone to stay away. Kang sees them swarming the area, so he decides to buy the civilians more time. And Kang plants himself and throws up a barrier to buy time. But a civilian gets dragged away screaming for help while two lizard creatures close in. Damn, customer service here is lethal. Another lizard monster attacks, and our hero realizes there are too many to defeat alone. Reinforcements are still 5 minutes away, so he braces himself and holds the swarm back. Extreme danger flips Kang's power on, scaling his defense and recovery with every monster crowding him. So our boy grapples the biggest lizard head on, because apparently impossible odds are his pre-workout. Then Kang turns his defense into a counterattack and cuts through a lizard monster's limb with his wire blade strike. The hit temporarily increases his attack power by 2%, giving him more force against the remaining swarm. Now Kang barely registers the blood covering him before a huge reptilian monster attacks. He raises his shield and blocks its bladed weapon before it can reach the civilians. Heavy artillery joins the mess while the meat shield radios in, but the serpent snatches a trapped civilian mid-attack, forcing the shadowy commander to order everyone to stop firing. But the soldiers secure the damaged area and search for survivors and remaining monsters. Each squad sweeps the buildings, moving carefully through the corridors with weapons ready. One soldier enters a ruined room and finds Bro exhausted beside the reptilian monster he killed. The destruction stops him cold. He starts addressing Kang and reaches for his radio. Meanwhile, another soldier asks what's happening as the fighting continues. Our boy is still surrounded by several armed reptilian monsters. This isn't over. So a reptilian monster lunges and injures Kang, but he forces himself forward. He keeps fighting because the soldiers and civilians still need his protection. Then the soldiers realize Kang saved everyone and rush over to see whether he's alive. An injured man recognizes Bro and asks whether the grandmother's surgery succeeded. Kang helped them before. So a soldier catches the guy before his injuries make him collapse. Kang is an F-rank hunter, covered in blood among dead monsters. The soldier fears authorities will arrest him as a criminal, so he carries Kang away. And the soldier carries Dude through the damaged corridor and avoids being detected. Ahead, an unidentified hooded person shelters among the rubble. Their escape route may not be clear. Meanwhile, an elderly patient wakes inside a hospital and can't understand where he is. He struggles to remember what happened after the disaster. The elderly man scrambles after his dropped meal, so the young man helps him settle down. The old man offers a pear slice and says that's all he needs to do. Then the kid lies back and reassures his mother properly. "Mom, I'm here." Then a reporter broadcasts from Wang Simri while the facehider boots a reptilian monster midair. He says this fight was his choice, and the creature pushes through the wires like it took that personally. A centipede monster lunges while Kang watches the whole swarm climb after him. He's already killed 10, but these bastards keep coming, so he curses the wasted effort and triggers his blood demon power. Now one reptilian monster gains a temporary 10% attack power increase. It drives its blade in hard enough to draw blood. The scent stimulates the monster's brains, and their aggression surges across the rooftop. And Kang is trapped between the facehider and the attacking monsters. Another creature lunges from close range, and blood demon art starts affecting him. Kang counters with sudden violence and wounds it. The counterattack kills the creature, but Bro can't celebrate. His body moves without his consent as blood demon art partially unleashes. That loss of control alarms him. Blood demon art fully activates and temporarily increases Kang's attack power. He cuts down the reptilian monsters and survives their attack. Still, he's exhausted and disturbed because he can't reliably control this power. So Kang catches his breath while the defeated creature shows how destructive that power can be. Meanwhile, a young hunter struggles with the personal cost of surviving his own ordeal. So the young hunter's grandmother remembers that he grew up without parents. His hospital crisis follows years of hardship and loss. Her words give him brief comfort, while our hero resolves to keep moving despite his dangerous power. Kang decides blood demon art is too dangerous to test outside. He registers at a training center so he can learn control. The staff admits him and explains the rules. Defeating all 20 opponents triggers a 24-hour wait before he can train again. Honestly, only this guy could find a gym that punishes you for finishing early. And once training begins, Asmon grants Kang a gift trial and hardship. The challenge shocks him, but he still clears it. His divinity increases by 5. Kang's 1-month pass expires, cutting off access to the training creatures. He thanks the staff and leaves. The constant fighting has drained him, so he takes time to recover. But first, Bro stops at a 24-hour soup restaurant. He finishes a whole bowl, restores his strength, and closes out the long month. Then, once he's recovered, Kang heads home and hurries into his apartment. He drops his bag inside as the exhaustion finally catches him. Our boy collapses and goes through another challenge, though its details aren't revealed. The system confirms he overcame the trial, allowing his progression to continue. Meanwhile, giant ogre-like monsters attack a city street. The soldiers identify one target and open fire. Their bullets wound the knuckle heap, but it raises its club to strike back. Then another ogre-like monster charges with an axe and shield. The soldiers concentrate their fire on its head, stopping it before it reaches them. With the monsters down, the soldiers finally catch their breath. They regroup beside their truck on the city street. One soldier gets irritated when a long-haired soldier shows him a phone photo. He asks whether the person is his younger brother. A reporter approaches, but the soldier checks her press card before accepting the interview. So the reporter asks whether he's the protagonist of the Wang Simri tanker incident. He dismisses the headlines, then angrily denies her claim. A sudden disturbance cuts the interview short. Now Kang dries his hair, puts on his jacket, and prepares to leave. Before he goes, a young woman hands him a wrapped box. She calls it a small gift. The human shield is getting fan mail now. Meanwhile, Kang is still worn out from his injuries. He rests outside with both legs wrapped in hospital bandages before leaving. And at the hospital, Kim Chun-shik thanks the workers for caring for him and accepts a drink. Hearing his name makes him fear the bill. He bows and promises to repay everything. "Please don't make my grandmother pay for it." Kim Chun-shik promises he'll earn enough money to protect his grandmother. The staff stop him and reveal that a donor already covered every bill. That includes his grandmother's surgery costs. And Kim Chun-shik learns that dude paid for everything. The unexpected help overwhelms him, and he breaks down. I've received far too much. Then Kim Chun-shik can't get over how much Kang has done for him. The woman handling his message thanks him, but she won't reveal anything else about his benefactor. Meanwhile, a new mission starts inside the habitat. Yun Woo-bin, an 18-year-old D-rank mage, joins 2 other hunters. Even after receiving a buff, he fears his bad luck will endanger them. An older hunter rejects Yun Woo-bin's suggestion and orders everyone to maintain formation. Before they can finish preparing, the guy senses trouble. Another hunter warns the party that enemies are approaching. So 2 giant ant monsters reach the party and attack immediately. Kang raises his shield and takes the front. He puts himself between the ants and everyone behind him. A cursed giant insect joins the attackers surrounding Kang. With several enemies closing in, his defense increases by 5% for each one. Bro launches his counterattack. Now Kang blocks one creature's claw and wounds it. More insects surround him, forcing him to keep fighting alone at close range. So this guy keeps the swarm focused on him. He dodges one attack and cuts an insect, but another claw knocks him off balance. He endures the pain because retreating would expose everyone behind him. But Kang keeps attacking and lands another heavy strike. The giant insect counters, knocks him aside, and immediately prepares to strike again. Neither side has won yet. Kang and the other fighters finally bring down the giant insect with several strikes. They quickly regroup before the remaining swarm reaches them, and Kang's defense and health regeneration increase by 18% for a short time. Another huge insect approaches, but the surrounding noise prevents the archer from locating the enemies. Another giant insect reaches the party and strikes several hunters. It prepares to devour one of them, forcing Bro to intervene immediately. Then Kang attacks before the insect can finish the hunter, but its armored head stops his sword. The creature counters with a claw, so he activates partial enhancement and holds it back. Then the armored insect thrashes against our hero, but he refuses to move as more insects descend. Partial enhancement can't stop the whole swarm. Kang activates Trial Shield to endure their attack and create an opening. Kang uses that opening and cuts down another insect. The nearby hunters can't believe how quickly he's grown. One asks how an F-rank tanker became this strong. Good question. Everyone advances over the fallen creatures. Hidden arrows suddenly pierce dude and trigger energy deviation. He's left helpless beside a monster. Kang realizes Asmin is trying to kill him, while the deviation starts disrupting his self-control. Now an older hunter questions our boy about his suspiciously fast growth. Kang nervously claims he only worked hard, prompting the hunter to examine what happened during the raid. Kang explains that he and one teammate hold off the main ant swarm. Another guards the rear, but an overwhelmed hunter lets one enemy slip through. The ground suddenly collapses beneath the party and sends everyone falling. Their injuries leave status readings at 30% and 60%. Worse, they've landed inside an ant cave. So Bro spots a 170-200 Emis D-rank soldier ant among the workers. With both types inside this nest, they're in a C-rank zone. Yun Woo-bin's childhood trauma hits, and Kang checks on him during the panic attack. And Yun Woo-bin tries to steady himself, but the trauma doesn't vanish. Jung Chan-woo fears he'll endanger everyone and demands to know why he joined. The group starts arguing when they need to cooperate. Jung Chan-woo shouts that everyone will die because of Yun Woo-bin. The guy stops his panic and questions that judgment. He's survived hundreds of raids and knows how to handle a crisis. And Yun Woo-bin finally notices their advantage. However many ants gather, they can only enter through the tunnels. Kang builds their defense around those choke points. Yun Woo-bin takes the swarm while another teammate guards the smaller tunnel. Yun Woo-bin commits to holding the tunnel as the next ant approaches. Kang fears the entire swarm might be soldier ants. He strikes first and wounds it, but these ants move faster than expected. So Bro adjusts before the soldier ant can overpower him. He activates sharpness magic and cuts straight through it, no break. Kang keeps his shield raised as the next attack comes. Then this guy realizes the enemy is still fighting at its base level. He uses one ant to force his way into the swarm. Before it recovers, he destroys its head. The kill barely slows them, because more giant ants charge immediately. Kang meets them head on, as repeated strikes register -5%, -7%, and -10%. Their front ranks begin to falter. The swarm gives Kang no pause, so he drives into the ants around him. He cuts one down before the next attacker reaches him. But a skeletal monster lunges immediately, and dude blocks its attack. He slashes through its body and confirms the hit. Blood Demon Art raises his attack power by 4% for now. That gives him more force against the stronger enemies. An insect creature dives at Kang and breaks through his defense. The blow injures him, turning the fight into a battle of attrition. Before our hero can recover, a warrior counters with a heavy hammer strike. The impact hurls the warrior backward. The creature is still standing, so the armored monster breaks through their defense and leaves a warrior bloody. worried. Kang is exhausted too, but recovery aura activates before the creature overwhelms them. Then Kang realizes this unfamiliar power can heal injuries. A wounded teammate urges him to heal himself first. Bro treats her instead, leaving himself exposed while the monsters surround them. Still exposed, Kang braces against another attack. He finally uses recovery aura on himself. The giant insect immediately forces him back onto the defensive, and our boy blocks the insect's next strike, but more creatures surround him. Healing won't solve this. Constant fighting will drain his stamina almost immediately, and another armored monster closes in. A hunter fights through exhaustion and kills a giant ant with an arrow. Kang's mind starts twisting everything around him. He passes a fallen hunter and repeats, "It's okay, it's not real." He keeps trying to deny the trauma surrounding him. Now the distortion becomes a memory of hunters turning against each other. One demands that a companion face the danger. That hunter condemns anyone willing to die for others. Another memory praises a tank who protected a teammate during a test. It strengthens Kang's refusal to abandon anyone. Then now, the survivor praises the tank's sacrifice and wishes he could fight beside someone so brave. Kang feels these distorted memories, pulling him back into his own trauma. Kang remembers the childhood portal disaster, when a blast knocks him down beside his mother. He cries from the pain, but she tells him not to cry. She desperately makes him grip her hand as she leads him towards safety. The memory reaches its worst moment as an adult drags Bro through the disaster. He falls among the blood and screams in terror. This time, Kang turns that childhood helplessness into resolve, and the hooded ally asks the guy to attempt something difficult. He answers, "I'll try, somehow." Kang readies his weapon as an unknown opponent approaches. He braces against the incoming power and commits to fighting. Kang's spell fails, but he immediately follows with a physical sword strike. The blow knocks the red-haired hunter down and throws him from the clash. Meanwhile, an insect pins Yun Wobin beneath its bladed limbs. He blocks the creature at close range and refuses to remain helpless. Yun Wobin vows, "Not anymore," before awakening a fire-based power and continuing the fight. So now, Yun Wubin's awakened fire grows far beyond a simple spell. It condenses into a clawed, beast-like form and tears through the surrounding flames. So the fire creature fully forms with a roar and releases a huge blast. The attack catches the nobody nearby and leaves him screaming in pain. The blast shakes the other hunters, but Yun Wubin doesn't freeze again. He steadies himself and channels his awakened fire into a decisive counterattack. And Kang orders Yun Wubin to destroy the nest openings before more ants escape. His fire engulfs the emerging swarm and stops the immediate flood. The fire burns through the remaining ants and finally stops the swarm. Dude pushes through the flames before the next creature can attack his companions. But the fire creature slams its fist down and Kang activates Trial Shield. He takes the full impact, fights through the pain, and cuts straight through its claw. Then this guy follows with a heavy sword strike and cuts into the fire creature. The heat tears at him, but he holds his ground to protect the trapped party. The strike sets off a huge explosion before Kang can clear the area. Stone collapses around him and the blast throws his injured body into the depths below. He's cut off. Meanwhile, the surviving party members flee while carrying their injured companion. One desperately reaches back, but a huge creature blocks their escape as rubble falls around them. Then another clawed creature climbs through the broken stone toward Kang. He's injured and alone, but he raises his blade and says, "Ah, seriously," before attacking again. Bro attacks, but every exchange leaves him with more wounds. The young mage apologizes for failing to cast healing magic. Kang reassures him and says this sacrifice is necessary for the reward. Another strike cuts through him. Luca Bellino confronts the badly wounded our hero over dragging others into sacrifices meant for her. Before he can answer, the creature corners him and demands confirmation. Kang has nowhere to retreat. So Kang wakes in the pit, and his relieved companions rush to check him. The hole above is impossible to climb, so the group remains trapped underground. They start searching for another exit. Now the group weighs its options while Bro struggles with his injuries. A companion asks about an exit, then calls him useless. Kang confronts him, and the companion quickly claims it was only a joke. Turns out one companion finds a possible escape mechanism inside the pit. Everyone gathers around and steps onto the platform. It launches the whole group away together. But the platform sends our boy and his companions tumbling toward the ground. Just like that, their escape plan becomes a longer fall. They cling to each other before crashing deeper underground. The platform is left empty behind them. Once the underground mission ends, the Hunter administration treats the abnormal result as an error. It compensates everyone with hunting grounds and funds. The hunters thank Kang, but he blames himself. He fears more anomalies will draw the administration's suspicion. And Kang briefly restrains a panicked hunter with his bloodied hand, then releases him. Despite that moment, the survivors part as allies. They shake hands and promise to contact each other again. And with that promise made, Kang's new allies leave. Meanwhile, a Celestial management employee receives a call. The company starts reviewing Dude as a recruitment prospect. Turns out Young Chanwoo ordered Celestial management to scout Kang despite his E rank. A manager questions why his rank hasn't improved. Of course, the paperwork still says E rank. The scout says the guy outperforms every hunter he's encountered. Meanwhile, Kang receives his official hunter rank evaluation report and reads it silently. Others recognize his ability, but the Hunter administration still ranks him E rank. So Kang buries his frustration and trains alone through the night. He counts every repetition until he reaches 39. An emergency alert cuts through Wangsimri. A link phenomenon has opened right inside the district. Monsters pour out roaring, and helmeted soldiers raise their rifles against the tide. Meanwhile, the military sends armed soldiers into Wangsimri. The squad advances with rifles ready. They know the new link could release a serious threat at any moment. Then now, the commander gives the order, and the soldiers answer, yes sir. They open fire on the approaching creatures. But the bullets only wound the wolf-like beasts, and they keep charging. The soldiers are ordered forward to meet them directly. Meanwhile, the squad searches the Wangsimri ruins with rifles ready. A crack widens through the damaged rock, warning them the area isn't secure. So wolf-like beasts suddenly break through from above. A soldier warns the others, and the squad raises its rifles at the descending creatures. The soldiers keep firing while the beasts rush closer, but their shots damage the ceiling. Everyone runs as it collapses, trapping soldiers beneath the debris. Then a beast attacks through the wreckage and strikes a soldier before he recovers. He collapses, leaving fewer soldiers to hold the line. And Kim Chun-shik is thrown beneath the attacking beast, but he keeps fighting while his squad completes the evacuation. His arm is injured, but everyone escapes the area. That night, the soldiers stand watch as one soldier tells Kim Chun-shik he's leaving. Before deployment, he learned his sister and other civilians were fleeing to shelters. The soldier insists he hasn't decided rashly, but Corporal Park tries stopping him. Desperation wins. He apologizes, shoots Corporal Park, and leaves to find his sister. Now the gunshot alerts every remaining soldier, but one squad mate sides with the deserter. He says he'll go too, splitting the unit even further. The remaining soldiers refuse to split again. One orders everyone back, saying the squad must move together. Another promises to follow Corporal Park anywhere. Before they settle it, the meat shield spots danger nearby. Now, two beasts tear through the ruined street and one roars beside the survivors. Everyone hiding in the ruins falls silent because any noise could lead it straight to them. Then the civilians stay quiet while two soldiers plan their rescue. One will distract the beasts while the other saves his brother. His comrade refuses to let him face them alone. And another beast appears before they can choose, putting everyone there in danger. The meat shield fires to draw its attention, but the huge creature charges into the fight. He keeps aiming upward as it closes in. The meat shield holds his ground while the pack charges. They reach him before he can clear an escape route for the civilians. That forces him into a close-range fight. So now, a huge monster blocks the rescue route, so the meat shield opens fire. The odds don't look good. Nearby, two civilians cling together as the fighting reaches their hiding place. Turns out, a rescuer finds the trapped pair inside the collapsed structure. He calls, "Are you both okay? Rescue is here." The injured woman answers through the pain, confirming they need help immediately. So the woman cries out in relief, but they're still exposed. A helmeted soldier races through the nearby alley. The stalker holds back a wolf-like beast, keeping it away from the survivors. And meanwhile, the stalker leads the wolf-like beasts away from the rescued civilians. The whole pack chases him through the ruined street, so he has to keep running. Near an overturned military vehicle, the meat shield raises his rifle as another threat crosses the rubble. The rescue team is heading straight into another confrontation. A wolf-like beast ambushes the meat shield beside the overturned vehicle. It reaches down to kill him. He wounds it before those claws land. But the wounded beast roars and turns on the meat shield. He steadies his sniper rifle and fires again at close range. The shot doesn't stop it. The beast kills another fallen soldier and sends the survivors running. A rifleman cautiously enters the area. Nearby, another fighter clashes with a lunging beast. It knocks him down and leaves him badly wounded beneath it. The enraged beast keeps attacking. It hurls a soldier through the air, and he still grips his rifle. Another wolf-like beast waits below, ready to tear into him. Then another soldier fires from the wall, trying to save his fallen comrade. The creature charges through the bullets and leaps toward the soldiers. They can't stop it. Then the beast blocks the helmeted sniper's view, leaving him without a clear shot. He realizes he might die. Before he can move, the creature reaches him and leaves him gravely wounded. The rescuers are left without a working sniper as the beasts keep attacking. Kim Chun-shik lies covered in blood while a soldier fires and screams his name. He's still conscious. Kim Chun-shik calmly reassures his wounded comrade, but he knows they're both about to die. So Kim Chun-shik chooses to sacrifice himself and reaches for the detonator. He won't let them both die here. That choice triggers his awakening and completely heals his earlier injuries. He rises again, ready to fight. Fully healed, Kim Chun-shik grips a blade as the wolf-like beast closes in. The creature raises its claws to finish him. Now Kim Chun-shik meets the beast at close range and drives his blade into it. His awakening has given him enough strength to fight back. And meanwhile, the facehider finishes the wounded beast. His victory lasts seconds before a larger attacker smashes him with one huge fist. The facehider gets back up and drives his blade into another lunging beast. Before he confirms the kill, a roar comes from above. Something else is joining the fight. Now the monsters rush toward Kim Chun-shik, and the soldiers move to intercept them. One soldier orders another down, but they can't fire safely. Nothing stops the charge. And one unit has abandoned its assigned northeastern route, putting the other soldiers on guard. Nobody knows why they're out of position, so both sides raise their rifles. rifles. Meanwhile, this deployment begins 4 days earlier. After a link phenomenon near Wang Simri, monsters appear throughout the area, and exhausted soldiers hurry toward the disaster zone. They're already struggling to keep pace. Their training explains that exhaustion. When one recruit falls behind, the drill sergeant threatens another 100 laps. To be fair, the monsters ask for less cardio than this sergeant. Everyone keeps running under heavy gear until they can barely breathe. Then now, those recruits are active soldiers, standing rigidly before an officer. He doesn't react to the anger behind him. Their training keeps them obedient despite the tension. So one soldier asks why they enlisted if they can't protect their families. Nobody answers. An unexplained violent incident leaves several soldiers collapsed and shaken. One calls it a relief, while another demands an explanation. When the soldiers finally rest, Kim Chun-shik sees his abilities being measured. His strength is 30, and his agility is 30. He can't explain it, but his awakening has begun. Nearby, a beast grabs a terrified man, and the facehider confronts it with a knife. So now, a soldier asks the battalion commander about a suited man's proposal. The commander recoils when he hears the disaster could secure someone a promotion. People in command may be exploiting the crisis for personal gain. So, the suited man says ignoring the disaster would be foolish and pushes the battalion commander to cooperate. They meet the onlooker as news reports praise the commander for protecting civilians where shelters are scarce. His public image is already changing, but the private talks stop when a rescue request comes through. Emergency crews mobilize in the rain, and a senior officer starts issuing urgent orders. A driver takes a tense call while heading straight toward the rescue site. And elsewhere, the onlooker's recording exposes a dark account hidden on the last page of The Little Prince. An older man behind her asks what she's doing, and a hooded watcher reels after the secret comes out. The rescue team asks whether Kang, their recommended newcomer, is only E-rank. A device suddenly alerts everyone before they can settle the question. The alert cuts them off. Everyone turns toward the approaching emergency. The rescue leader pulls 2 responders into a strategy meeting. He orders a 3rd responder to guard this guy, the E-rank newcomer. The assigned handler looks uneasy and warns Kang to stay outside the danger zone. The warning confirms this mission could exceed Kang's rank. Then Kang refuses to stay behind. He commits to the rescue. Another responder prepares a spell as the team enters the mission zone. An injured survivor asks whether the Rangers can still save them. Nearby, a cloaked healer works to stabilize an unconscious ally. Every delay leaves both survivors exposed. The cloaked rescuer keeps treating the injured survivor, but the survivor fears the team will die rescuing them. The monsters keep advancing. A more dangerous clawed creature moves among them. So Bro decides he must grow stronger, because every finished trial brings a harder one. He accepts that protecting people means carrying the burden by choice. Kang joins the attack as the rescue team meets the charging monsters head on. Then a horned fighter drives a kick into the huge creature and sends it flying. The blow breaks the monster's charge and gives the rescue force room to resist. Now the remaining creatures regroup and push forward. Several stone giants overwhelm the facehider and slam them onto the bloodied ground. The defender may be badly hurt. Meanwhile, the rescue team's fire user blasts the stone giants and forces our hero behind cover. He admits he's scared. Kang doubts he can survive long enough to settle his remaining struggles. So he trusts this mission brought him here for a reason and charges forward. The intense heat nearly stops him. A large creature raises its weapon through the flames. Before it can swing, the rescue team's elder orders Kang to move aside. He's blocking the elder's attack. The elder fires a powerful blast straight at the creature, and another rescue fighter joins while Dude waits behind his sword and shield. Each fighter handles a separate enemy with greater speed, power, and defense. Even so, their attacks connect in one perfectly coordinated flow, and the rescue fighters notice the orcs are moving under someone's command. Their hidden commander reveals itself and starts casting a large-scale spell. This is no ordinary D-rank mission anymore. A swordsman rushes to intercept while Kang braces behind his shield. Before they can contain the commander, a powerful creature roars and launches its attack. That roar brings stronger orcs into the fight. They advance with enough discipline to confirm the commander's control. The hunting ground can no longer be classified as D-rank. Then the commander orders the orc archers to fire together. Our boy keeps their volley off him. Nearby, a rescue fighter prepares to stop an orc's empowered spear charge. The rescue fighter smashes through the attacking creatures while Kang endures the continuing arrows. By holding his ground, he gives the team enough room to survive. Meanwhile, another rescue fighter blocks the arrows before they reach an ally. That defense draws out a stronger creature. It roars and raises its heavy weapon to attack. So now, the stronger creature goes for a young woman, but a rescue fighter races over and intercepts it. A boss-level monster charges in too, claiming even a hidden boss can't stop it. Another deadly enemy. But Kang reluctantly uses his bracelet to remove the nullification debuff. With the restriction gone, a rescue fighter can finally use a skill. Allies have already died carrying out his plan, so he grips his sword and shield. He commits to finishing the battle. Freed from the debuff, a rescue fighter engages a stone giant. The effort strains the whole team, and several more giants charge them together. And Bro braces against the next giant's attack and holds the line. That gives the rescue leader enough time to gather his power. He looks over and and praises him. "Well done, Kang-san." The rescue leader decides he'll finish the remaining fight himself. He gathers his power and faces the snarling monster threatening the team. Then the guy follows with a decisive strike and kills the large beast. He's worn out. With the area clear, he starts measuring it. He reflects that dungeon exploration and assessment still depend on people doing the work. Then, after finishing the dungeon assessment, he rides a bus back to the city. An unknown curse keeps following him, so he's learned to treat misfortune as normal. Even strangers on the bus pity our boy now. Nearby passengers discuss his tragic fate as if they're comforting him. The conversation leaves him tense. He doesn't understand. Meanwhile, the rescue team's driver catches up with him during the journey home. The driver treated him harshly earlier, so he calls out and apologizes. He admits he misjudged the E-rank hunter who helped save the team. The driver praises him for putting the survivors first despite the danger. He admits the whole team might have died without him. Before they part, the driver tells him to grow stronger and come back. So now Kang spots an SUV keeping pace with his bus through the nighttime traffic. He tenses up as an older passenger watches him warily. Kang quietly reflects that 3 years have passed. The passengers turn against Bro and order him off the bus. He apologizes and leaves rather than start a fight. Kang returns to the familiar rooftop workshop after years away. Standing there, he thinks about how long it's been. Now this guy greets the workers inside, and Yoo Jung-young can barely believe he's alive. He grabs Kang's jacket and gives him a warm welcome home. And Yoo Jung-young, the Iron Forge's master blacksmith, welcomes Kang back properly. The demanding workshop still feels familiar, and the crew remains close despite their harsh training. And Kang reveals that he's reached E rank, which catches Yoo Jung-young by surprise. He asks to inspect Kang's equipment and takes the overdue sword for repairs. Yoo Jung-young promises careful work, but the blade's condition worries everyone immediately. Yoo Jung-young studies the worn sword and considers how long it has served. He even apologizes to the workshop cat for its previous owner's neglect. Poor cat. A worker suddenly warns him that someone from the Howling Guild has arrived. The visitor quietly studies the forge. Then meanwhile, Dude comforts the workshop cat and blames its loneliness on the shrinking workforce. That quiet moment ends when a huge beast lunges at him. Kang doesn't see it coming. The sudden attack throws our hero into a broken vision. A hammer pounds a weapon again and again as cracks cover the blade. So the blade finally shatters and Kang receives an alarming judgment. He can't understand the verdict before a huge clawed hand reaches for him. This ordeal is testing more than his equipment. So Kang survives the violent ordeal and receives mental stat 10 and crafting skill. The monster still attacks, but Bro overcomes it and ends the clash. But the blood demon entity grabs Kang inside his own mind. It asks whether he wants to kill and pushes him toward revenge. It insists our boy wants everyone who hurt him dead. The blood demon entity tells Kang to use its power before time runs out. Kang refuses and demands his release. Nearby, a winged creature lies bloodied among the wreckage, showing the immediate cost of resisting. But one woman accepts the refusal and warns that consequences will follow. Another blames rising steel and mana stone prices on large corporations demanding cheaper items. Kim Chun-shik thinks about the company operating from a huge skyscraper. Yoo Jung-young finds Bro in an alley and knocks him to the ground. He's clearly running out of patience with Kang's demands. Kang still begs Yoo Jung-young to help forge a sword within 1 week. Yoo Jung-young says a complete beginner can't finish that quickly. He confronts the guy angrily, forcing him to face the 7th trial's impossible deadline. And Yoo Jung-young finally gives in and starts teaching Kang. Just like that, the swordsmith turns into a baker. He calls the heated metal the dough and demonstrates how to shape it. Kang watches closely because this is his only chance to finish within 1 week. Then Dude worries this attempt could ruin his reputation and social life. He can't hesitate though. Kang commits and channels Blood Demon Art into his hammer strike. Blood Demon Art 1-star activates during the forging process. This guy keeps feeding Blood Demon Art into every hammer strike. Its force shapes the metal while Yoo Jung-young watches over the demanding work. Then meanwhile, Yoo Jung-young's craftsmanship keeps earning loyal customers. One grateful owner promises to treasure his finished weapon until death. More customers begin recognizing Yoo Jung-young for making exceptional weapons. The Iron Forge once celebrates securing a lifetime contract with the Howling Guild. Soon, Mana Stone production lets companies claim anyone can make these items. Yoo Jung-young's crew argues that strong performance means nothing without durability. The corporate representative dismisses durability because nobody can measure it. Now Kang urgently asks Yoo Jung-young to forge a sword with him within 1 week. Ordinary training can't fit that deadline. Yoo Jung-young prepares to test whether Kang can meet the 7th trial's demand. So now the Iron Forge shift ends and the workers head home. Bro stays behind and keeps forging. Yoo Jung-young realizes he'll hammer all night and asks how far he's willing to push himself. Yoo Jung-young soon notices something is wrong. Kang's suppressed killing urge bursts out across the forge. He shouts Kang's name as the training becomes a fight fight for control. Yu Jung-young calls him again, but Kang can barely hear anything. The blood demon entity's killing urge fills his mind. His rage takes over until he wants it too. Kill. I want to kill them. And Kang's rage turns toward the monster that killed his parents. That memory feeds his hatred and drags him closer to losing control. He can't finish Asmon's 7th trial this way. His hatred shifts from that monster to the relatives who abandoned him. Our hero pours every bit of it into the hammer. He keeps swinging until exhaustion finally smothers the urge to kill. Now Yu Jung-young rejects the flawed blade because it still carries uncontrolled killing intent. Kang asks how he can fix it. Yu Jung-young orders him to keep forging until he finds the answer. And Kang collapses from the strain, but he gets up and resumes hammering. His rage triggers the berserker status. The effect clears, yet his uncontrolled swing still puts everyone in danger. So Yu Jung-young raises his own hammer to stop Bro. Kang regains control before they clash. He explains that he's only trying to make a sword. Our boy finishes an E-rank longsword and tests it successfully. The weapon inflicts the special effect bleeding, proving it works. Once the danger passes, everyone celebrates at a pork rib restaurant. Then now, the workers urge Kang to eat while Yu Jung-young handles the grill. Kang stays cautious because their earlier confrontation isn't settled. One worker checks Yu Jung-young's mood and says he looks even angrier. Of course, the man working the fire is the angriest one here. The meal continues until a forge worker suddenly restrains Dude, bringing the tension right back. The restaurant owner demands an explanation, and everyone pauses before anyone makes another move. But another worker separates Kang from the others, giving him time to reconsider everything. The guy apologizes for his earlier behavior and tries to settle the conflict peacefully. So Kang follows the apology by asking Yu Jung-young for one more favor. The next day, Yu Jung-young delivers the finished blade, and Kang thanks him. He activates Blood Demon Art 1 star to test it. Bro channels Blood Demon Art through the blade and releases a powerful strike. The surge seems to set his body on fire, but Kang insists he's fine. The Blood Demon entity welcomes him back and says he needs its power. Using the technique has reopened its influence over this guy. The Blood Demon entity twists Kang's resentment into a vision of brutal punishment. It urges him to kill everyone who mocked him. Kang recoils, but its influence keeps pushing him toward rage and violence. Then Yu Jung-young calls Kang back and orders him to focus on the sword. He realizes intense emotions are overwhelming Bror. Kang remains trapped between the entity's killing urge and his work at the forge. Our hero refuses the Blood Demon entity's urge to kill and pours that intensity into forging. He keeps hammering through the pain and exhaustion. The 7th trial now tests his restraint as much as his endurance. Kang finally completes the grueling work and passes the 7th trial and its hardship. The system confirms that his promised reward will follow. It also records his strength at 37, giving him another clear improvement. And his relentless hammering unlocks crafting proficiency and material analysis. The finished D-grade longsword has attack power 19 and the special effect bleeding. Kang's work has produced a powerful weapon. Now the blacksmiths can't believe Kang strengthened the longsword without a mana stone. They demand to know whether hammering alone really produced it. Their forceful questioning makes Dude tense because his crafting defies everything they know about item production. Kang is exhausted when Yu Jung-young's jealousy finally breaks through. He resents the gods for choosing our boy, so he drives a blade into the surface. Then meanwhile, a fighter falls before a huge creature and an axe wielder rushes to help. Another fighter grips a heavy weapon and forces himself into the fight. Now a club strike knocks one hunter into a giant hand. The attacker panics when his arm starts changing. Another hunter protests because no normal test should be this deadly. And officials watch from above while medics treat the wounded hunters. One hunter accuses the emergency control center's director of abusing his authority. Jung Chan-woo ends up restrained on his knees. So young Chan-woo faces his father after failing the test again. He swallows the humiliation and makes a promise. If he fails once more, he'll obey his father's wishes without arguing. His father mocks him for blaming his teammates after the previous failure. Jung Chan-woo holds back his anger and submits. His father accepts the promise and grants one final chance. The director gives Jung Chan-woo only 3 days to assemble a team. He leaves before his son can argue. That deadline forces Jung Chan-woo to prove he can lead anyone. So the emergency control center director says he'd rather carry his son's corpse than let him hunt. Elsewhere, an exhausted Kang grabs Yu Jung-young's arm and insists on continuing his training. Kang and Yu Jung-young agree to continue despite the tension. Their training arrangement goes to the administrator for formal approval. Now the administrator asks whether both men accept the binding scroll contract. Bro and Yu Jung-young agree. Honestly, even a blacksmithing lesson needs signed paperwork here. The contract names them alongside the administrator, and it becomes binding. And so, once the contract is final, an Ironforge worker delivers Yu Jung-young's instructions. Kang must learn the technique properly and never disgrace its source. The training continues until everyone is exhausted, but the guy gets so absorbed in forging his sword that he misses several calls during the break. Yun Wubin finally reaches him and asks to talk. Startled, Kang answers and takes a taxi to meet him. Kang expects a simple meeting, but the taxi stops at the Hunter Emergency Control Center. He wasn't expecting that. Another visitor arrives and anxiously asks whether Yun Wubin is inside. Then the arrivals are sent to the third floor, where Bro finds the other attendees waiting. One person recognizes a colleague. Soon, everyone realizes Yun Wubin called them all to the same meeting. Now, Yun Wubin finally arrives with the Emergency Control Center director. The group doesn't understand why they're together. During the introductions, they learn Jung Chan-woo is the director's youngest son. Then the group asks Kang why he gathered everyone here. This guy hasn't heard anything about arranging this meeting. Nobody told the human shield he was supposedly hosting. Someone else brought them together without explaining why. So an older official quietly studies the assembled team while another attendee confirms they're the chosen members. One teammate expects an unusual test. Kang also learns the fire mage's father opposes his hunter career. So the group asks to review footage from the first test before making a plan. The recording shows goblins and hobgoblins advancing with weapons. Their opening attack confirms the test uses real monster combat. The footage reveals the party's formation. There's a D-rank main tank and an E-rank sub-tank. An E-rank assassin-type dealer joins D-rank all-rounder warriors. One hunter attacks with lightning shock. Now the lightning strike hits hard and the target cries out in pain. The hunter sees his attack worked and tells himself, "I can do this." He steadies himself and prepares to keep fighting. The recording continues as one hunter trades blows with a goblin. He admits he underestimated its strength. The party holds a firm defensive line before counterattacking, but a charging troll breaks through and keeps fighting after a direct hit. A hobgoblin leads an entire troop of trolls toward the tankers. The hooded controller directs their assault. The defensive line collapses and one hunter falls. The surviving tankers order everyone to regroup before the monsters overwhelm them. And the recording ends with the defense destroyed. A monster hurls an injured hunter aside. The hooded controller reveals its monstrous nature and prepares to attack beside a wounded goblin. And Kang finishes recounting how the first test failed. A young boy tells the hunters he wants to become one too. Dude stays silent because he understands what that ambition can cost. The older authority stays stern while the hunters focus on the coming test. They put Kang at the front and assign Jung Chan-woo as sub-tank. Jung Chan-woo must also protect the rear dealer. A teammate checks that everyone understands the plan. Then once the goblins charge with melee and ranged weapons, the party holds formation. Our hero activates Will of the Guardian and raises his shield. He absorbs the incoming spears and arrows, keeping the defensive line intact. The horde keeps pressing as Kang and his teammates defend the bridge. A goblin traps Kang in a blade lock. He breaks free and blocks another warrior's spear with his shield. So Bro keeps the front line intact, while lizardmen attack at close range. They switch tactics and cast Fire Lance directly at him. So an observer reacts in alarm as Fire Lance tears across the battlefield. Kang avoids the blast and braces against the fire and flying debris. The blast triggers a rock slide, and our boy warns everyone about the falling boulder. He changes tactics and grabs a heavier weapon. Kang smashes the rocky ground to survive the collapse. Kang follows the rock slide with a full axe swing and shatters the ground, clearing the danger. Once it works, he knows what to do next. But Bro activates Will of the Guardian as another armed monster wave charges. He holds the line, cuts down the first goblins, and faces the rest. Kang switches to his bow and fires at the remaining enemies. The ranged attacks keep them under pressure while he advances. The guy closes in and focuses on his next strike. He finishes the fallen enemy, then jumps back into battle with another arrow ready. And Kang's arrow forces the large monster to react, so he rushes closer. They trade repeated blows until his sword breaks through its defense. Then Kang's slash wounds the monster, but it stays up and prepares another attack. He advances behind his shield and strikes again with his sword. The monster's counterattack knocks Kang back. Nearby enemies keep pressing him with spears and blades. His current strength can't break through, so he decides to raise his attack power. Then Kang drives both blades into the armored enemy. The heavy strike forces the large stone-skin creature back, proving he can finally hurt it. Dude keeps attacking until the horned beast collapses, then follows with another slash. That successful hit raises his attack power by 10%, giving him enough force to finish. Now Kang uses Blood Demon Art, first form Mortal Strike, and lands the decisive blow. The technique cuts down the armored monster without taking control of him. So with the armored monster down, Kang's team considers switching to Plan B. Officials monitoring the test keep assessing the monster battle. This guy doesn't pause and charges straight into the next clash. So much for Plan B. So an ally's fire attack hits the huge creature before it crushes the person beneath it. Kang thanks the ally, takes the opening, and strikes the creature. The rescue keeps moving. Kang keeps attacking across the rocky ground and slams the next enemy. Meanwhile, the facehider curses the non-stop rockfall and forces his way through the debris. The monsters keep coming, and the facehider wounds a charging creature, but another one smashes against his defense. The defenders respond by hurling a huge boulder at the mounted hooded commander. They're targeting the one directing the attack. The stone ogre blocks the boulder and roars while closing in on the defenders. Bro strains against its pressure archer. That exchange confirms the hooded commander is controlling the assault. The hooded commander spots Kang and orders every monster forward. Stone ogres and goblins rush across the battlefield. The defenders brace for another crushing attack, and another creature attacks the blade grunt as soon as the ogre falls. Our hero gets hit hard and flies backward, bleeding from the blow. He regains his footing and cuts through several goblins, but another monster immediately counters with a crushing swing. So Kang raises his shield and blocks the armored goblin. He fires chain lightning into the enemies gathered around him. The sudden attack catches a nearby allied fighter off guard. Still, the monsters keep attacking. Kang spots a hobgoblin hiding among the weaker goblins and warns the stalker, but the stronger monster attacks before either of them can adjust. Its crushing strike is already coming down. The stalker calls for backup. Then Bro prepares to counter, and an allied archer moves to support him. The archer fires a lightning-charged arrow at the hidden hobgoblin. It flies toward the creature before it can overwhelm them. The arrow lands, and lightning bolts converge on the hidden hobgoblin. The barrage hammers it from several directions, but the electrical strike tears through the enemy line as two large monsters collide. The heavier impact sends one flying and briefly eases the assault around Kang, so a lightning-backed blade strike cuts through the clash. The hooded monster survives, and horns emerge beneath its torn cloak. Now, the hooded monster reveals its scarred demonic face. Kang's side is facing a powerful monster, not a human commander. It answers with a sweeping scythe strike. The face hider stops the hooded monster's scythe strike. He gathers energy and laughs, and both sides prepare to clash again. Then Asmon gives our boy the 8th trial and its hardship. Just like that, the hobgoblin transcends its rank into C rank before Kang can even adjust. The team didn't plan for this. The C rank hobgoblin vows to kill every human, so Kang meets its attack with his sword. Their clash tears across the battlefield, showing how far its power has jumped. The attack's force tears through nearby fighters and breaks Kang's defense. Before he recovers, an enemy strikes and draws blood. Dude stands wounded against the transcended hobgoblin. And now, two goblins ambush Kang from opposite sides, so he activates Ironclad and blocks them. Their collision releases a big blast, but the guy withstands it and holds his defense. Now the blast sends an armored enemy crashing away and gives Kang an opening. He charges back in before the enemy can recover. Kang commits to Plan C and attacks the stone monster. The move turns dangerous fast, so he orders everyone back. He can't escape in time. The monster catches him and leaves him wounded again. Then meanwhile, the others brace for Plan B as the monsters change course. They stop trying to avoid Plan C and search for another escape route. A goblin archer draws its bow, but Bro rushes in and intercepts the attack. Blocking that attack puts Kang under severe strain. The observers decide his group has finally reached its limit. They focus every attack on this guy, aiming to make the entire group collapse. And their assessment falls apart when Kang's allies counterattack. A muscular fighter slams into the enemy while Kang prepares another strike. Another hunter pushes forward despite the strain, proving they can still fight. So Kang's allies keep driving the enemy back. One hunter shields himself from the flying debris as the battle shifts again. Elsewhere, with no clear link to the battle, a husband finds two covered victims. His wife is one of them, and she's dead. He collapses beside her and cries, "I'm sorry, honey." Meanwhile, the grieving husband visits an injured boy in the hospital. The boy lies unconscious and in pain. The husband vows, "I'll make sure to protect him," turning his loss into firm resolve. So a stone ogre swings a huge hammer down at Kang. Bro intercepts it, then strikes the monster before it can finish the swing. After stopping the stone ogre, Kang presses forward and cuts down another monster. Goblins surround him and thrust their spears from every side. He fights through the ambush, but another enemy locks blades with him. Our hero is forced into a brutal contest of strength. The locked blades break into another violent strike. After such a long fight, Kang's body is giving out. He grips his bloodied sword on the rocky battlefield, wounded and exhausted. Still, he refuses to withdraw. And Kang's sword hand trembles from his injuries, and more monsters close in. He can't recover, so he charges before they can surround him. But a claw tears across Kang's face as he keeps countering. The monsters stagger, he blocks the next attack, and cuts through the goblins. That confirms the change he sensed is real. Kang decides he'll claim every offered reward, whatever it costs him. An ogre answers with a crushing hammer strike. Kang blocks it and holds his ground. Then Burning Time raises Kang's agility by 1 as he counters the surrounding monsters. He trades several punishing blows with the ogre. When it attacks again, he braces for the killing strike. Dude avoids the killing strike and counters while passing the ogre's guard. That ends the exchange. Burning Time rewards his sustained combat by raising his mental strength by 1. Then a goblin warband charges before Kang can recover. The ambush catches him off guard, but his resolve returns immediately. He says he couldn't be more grateful and rushes straight into them. So an armored ally notices our boy collapsing while the fight continues around them. He asks what's wrong, and Kang admits he has mana depletion syndrome. Any further sacrifice will only worsen his condition. Kang won't let the allies beside him suffer when victory seems impossible. A red-haired ally refuses to surrender because their leader hasn't given up. He rallies the whole group to keep fighting. Another allied fighter cuts down a beast nearby. A new danger startles Brr, and he falls among the shattered ground. An unidentified fighter reaches toward him. Kang can't tell whether the fighter means to help or attack. Now the hammer wielder warns the guy that his decisive strike will leave him completely defenseless. He smashes through the battlefield, forcing Kang to stay low beneath the impact. The allies' risky counterattack gives them another opening. The hammer wielder finishes his attack and warns Kang, keeping his weapon ready. Bro is already straining, so he drinks the yellow liquid from a helmet. Of course, the emergency potion gets served in a helmet. It restores enough strength for him to continue. Now Kang focuses on recovering while the remaining fighters hold back the monsters. From above, an assistant asks whether they should send more forces. The older observer refuses because he thinks this guy can't last much longer. To him, the battle is over. But the older observer loses that certainty when Kang calmly grips the dark core. Kang decides he must endure. No backing down. He raises his sword and shield, then faces the armored enemy to prove it. And more monsters enter the rocky battlefield while the observer watches tensely. Dude and his two comrades prepare together, knowing this trial will reveal their character. They have to trust one another. The trial starts with a bandaged monster biting Kang. He answers with a powerful sword strike and refuses to back down, but a larger monster grabs his leg mid-attack and stops him. And our hero turns the monster's grip against it and drives his sword straight in. Human slaughter kills the creature, activating Blood Demon Art. His attack power rises by 40%, but only for a limited time. With that temporary 40% increase, Kang takes the opening and swings again. His next sword strike lands decisively. So, the strike leaves Kang drained and kneeling, but the trial doesn't pause. Violent clashes continue nearby, and another fighter cuts down an enemy. Then meanwhile, the enemy Bro struck crashes onto the ground. Around it, the remaining fighters keep clashing with the advancing creatures. Now, an armored lizard-like creature attacks Kang as a larger monster closes behind him. Surrounded, he blocks the first weapon strike and barely avoids the following claw. With our boy down and the horde closing in, the suited observer watches from the cliff. He doesn't intervene. Elsewhere, a staff-bearing creature advances, and the dreadlocked fighter senses it coming. But the dreadlocked fighter answers with a fiery slash, and the disturbance alarms Yu Jung nearby. Inside the flames, the blade grunt strains to keep fighting. Kang's health fully restores, his defense temporarily doubles, and the madman effect disappears. He has control again. Another horde charges before he can breathe, so Kang braces for the assault. The archer tells Young Chan-woo, "I'm moving to the front," as monsters close on his position. He moves up to reinforce the line, while Young Chan-woo prepares for the approaching enemies. So the front line buckles, but Kang counters one monster charging straight at him. A club-wielding creature breaks through and smashes an allied blade grunt across the battlefield. Then smaller monsters close around the injured blade, grunt before he can recover. The archer rushes over, shields him, and calls for help. No one abandons him. Meanwhile, the drained teammate focuses on mana flowing through the water. A sudden sound brings back his broken promise to protect an injured ally. He steels himself to become someone they can depend on. And Bro holds back most of the assassins at the front. The archer stops other enemies from pushing deeper, keeping the formation intact. That gives the drained teammate room to fight, even after exhausting his mana. Because the team holds formation, the protected blade grunt realizes he hasn't been injured. Honestly, staying unscratched behind Kang is its own achievement. He wants to become as capable as Kang. The line holds. Nearby, the archer and hammer-wielding hunter keep clearing enemies away from him. Now an injured fighter drifting underwater brings back the memory of a crying child. The guy snaps into the present. He realizes the danger before him is connected to that unresolved trauma. Then the memory clears and Kang sees a crying boy surrounded by the aftermath of violence. It confirms his sudden realization comes from trauma he buried long ago. Back in the ruins, Kang spots goblins waiting ahead. The danger is already close. So dude grips his weapon and braces for their attack, but a spear-wielding warrior sends a huge blaze across the rocky battlefield. His arrival brings serious power into the fight, and the battle may turn